first bit. Hello and welcome back to the sports babble, but it's called the football babble now.
That's it.
We're both happy enough with that, aren't we?
Reflecting the interest that we have now in the Premier League.
Yeah, and Champions League and Europa League and any other leagues that someone's talked to us about. Just a little little starter. We are helped along by the Cambridge Barbershop in Belfast. I've spoken about it on other podcasts and Facebook posts and Twitter shops. It's run by my good friend Sean Lawler. He's two shops, one on Lisburn Road and one on Stranmillis. Go and check those lads out. I'm actually completely hideous looking man, and he sometimes tidies me up, so it's well worth the money. Go and check him out and tell him I sent you. That's the Cambridge Barbershop in Belfast. Sean's an absolute hero. Yes, we'll get into the football. There's 2 European draws this week.
Yes.
Who did Arsenal get in the Champions League, Jake?
No one, but your Liverpool will win it anyhow, so it doesn't make a difference.
I've been waiting all week to do that. It's strange actually Arsenal not being in the group stages, because
I actually watched the whole draw for the first time ever, and it's the first time Arsenal have been in it in a long time.
Yeah, a very long time. I can't remember the last time they weren't in the Champions League.
That's right, it's a number of years anyhow, and I would say that it's a long drawn out process.
It's the longest draw in the world.
Yes.
Isn't it?
It is, surely.
Yeah, I watched the Europa League draw today and it was much quicker, there's more teams in it. But what I don't think what helps is that there's so many teams from the one different country or something. I think that's maybe what holds it all up. Obviously for myself as a Liverpool fan, happy enough with our draw. Sevilla, Maribor and Spartak Moscow, and I'm going to the Sevilla game. Yeah!
I suppose the only thing there you're sort of thinking about is the long trip to Russia.
The Spartak one, yeah, and Maribor, they are Slovenia. So that's not close either, but I think I'm happy enough with that draw. You
would say Liverpool could rest a few players in those away ties and still come out with a good result.
Yeah, well we did that. We didn't rest because we went to Hoffenheim and came out with a good result. And Tino hadn't lost at something like 15-16 months at home in Germany. And I think we can beat all three of those teams home and away.
And also Sevilla aren't the threat that they once were now.
No.
They've sold their captain this summer to Leicester, Vincent Abore. So it's not a good sign, and he's a good player, a solid professional.
Yeah, a unit as well, like.
A unit,
happy enough with Liverpool's draw. Manchester United fans should be happy with their draw. CSK Moscow, or CSKA, as the sports journalists call them. We're not sports journalists, so we don't do that. Benfica. I always have a wee bit of it. I guess the Portuguese team I always have a wee bit of a soft spot for. Mostly Porto, but I don't like Benfica as well.
Mourinho going back to
Portugal,
country.
And then Basel, who away from home nobody seems to like playing. They're always a bit tricky.
Difficult.
Yeah. Chelsea got Atletico Madrid, Roma, and Qarabag, who are making their first appearance, I think it is, in the Champions League.
That's right, and actually an interesting wee thing about Qarabag, formerly managed by Tony Adams, former Arsenal defender, back about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I think they must have been taken over by new ownership, and they brought in Tony Adams as their manager. Needless to say, given his recent managerial history at the likes of Granada, he didn't last too long there either.
Did he not?
But no, he didn't last too long. I don't even think he lasted the full season. But interesting now to see them, obviously with a cash injection, and they're now in the Champions League group stages, which is fantastic for a country like Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
The first time ever, actually.
I think it is, yeah, I think it is.
They've had a club in the competition.
And 2 years ago, Qarabag, Monaco, Spurs and Anderlecht were all in the one group in the Europa League, and now they're all in the Champions League. So Chelsea got it's not the worst draw, but still quite a difficult draw. Roma will be difficult away. Atletico Madrid will be difficult. You'd expect Chelsea to come through it, but you wouldn't be surprised they came through second in the group.
They're tough ties, difficult places to go.
The two Atletico games will be interesting.
Roma, remember, they're going to be facing Dzeko, he's a difficult enough man to handle. The only thing I would say about Roma is they've sold Antonio Rudiger to Chelsea this summer.
Salah
has gone to Liverpool. They're two of their top performers last year in the Serie A, so maybe not the force that they once were, but nevertheless a tough place to go. And a hostile atmosphere. Actually, was at the Roma Lazio derby last year. It was at the Roma Stadium, and it was a fantastic atmosphere. Obviously, that's the derby, of the city. But passionate fans, to say the least. So tough place.
Stadio Olimpico is a nice stadium.
It's a beautiful stadium.
Yeah, class. Well, Celtic, they got Bayern Munich, PSG, and Anderlecht. And when that came out, I was in the car and a mate. I refused to listen to the draw on Talksport because they're a pile of shite. So I had a mate. I was talking to him on the phone and he talked me through the draw. And when that was released, announced to Celtic, I roared with laughter. Because it's just unlucky for them. But it's funny too.
It is unlucky, but at the end of the day, it's a great advertisement.
Oh, it's brilliant for them to get those big teams
and to get to PSG, to get to Bayern Munich, and actually, people are talking about the intense atmosphere at the likes of Celtic Park, which of course is undoubtable, but Bayern Munich's a tough place to go as well, and Paris Saint-Germain, given on how they played the other night.
About to supposedly, L'Equipe, I think it was, in France, or French football, on Twitter before we came on, was breaking that Kylian Mbappe has agreed to join Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, massive sign, and I think they're going to also maybe get Fabinho from Monaco as well.
I think that's part of the deal.
That's part of the deal, so two massive signings. Haven't already signed Neymar, who started in superb form for them.
Yeah, if I was a Celtic fan, and without making this sound patronising, I would be aiming for Europa League. And that group, especially at home, Celtic's atmosphere will be amazing. I don't think they'll beat Bayern Munich or PSG at home. I just don't think they will. I don't think this team will. But I think they could beat Anderlecht home and away. And if they can get into the Europa League and give that a massive run, that'll be brilliant for them. And I think they'll go into the Europa League.
Yeah, that's it.
They could probably go on and give it a right good go.
That's it, and you never know. They might come up against the mighty Arsenal, but I'm actually hoping for a Tottenham, maybe a Tottenham Arsenal North London derby in the Europa League. That's if we get through the groups.
The other English teams involved was Man City got. If you haven't seen this, I'm sure you have though. But they got Shakhtar, Napoli, and Feyenoord. That's three tough away ties. Feyenoord are the Dutch champions.
Three tough places to go. Shakhtar Donetsk is never nice.
No,
it's a difficult away game. I would also say that Giovanni van Bronckhorst, another shout out for a former Arsenal player, manager of Feyenoord now, and he runs a tight ship at Feyenoord, and they'll be a tough team to demolish for Manchester City.
Tight. I think.
Also, you have the likes of Dries Mertens, who plays for Napoli, who is in.
I think Napoli will win that group. I still think Man City will win the Premier League, but I think in that group in the Champions League, I think Napoli will.
They just haven't seemed to work out yet what sort of system to play in the Champions League is going to bring about good results.
But that's an interesting group too, and I'll be one to keep an eye on some cracker matches and that. The last sort of British involvement in the Champions League is Spurs, who got Real Madrid and Dortmund, and then Apoel and Nicosia, the Cypriot champions. Liverpool were close to getting this group, and my friend Andrew was on the phone to me. He was calling out. He says we can get Real Madrid and Dortmund here, or we can get Sevilla or Spartak. And I was like, oh no, please. And it was either, I think Spurs is Group G and the other group was Group E, and he called out E, and I was delighted because I did not want to go in. As much as you want the big teams, you don't want them. You don't want two big teams in your group straight away.
That's right. Do you know
what I mean? You don't mind if you'd one. If we had Real Madrid and ourselves and someone else, you'd be like, okay, let's go for it. But you don't want two.
Tottenham, to be honest,
you said to me that you don't think Tottenham will get out of that group.
I don't think they'll get out of the group. I think the best that they can hope for is, I would say that they will beat the Cypriot champions, Apoel, and against Real Madrid and Dortmund, it'll be tough. I just don't think they have the mobility in the likes Dyer and Wanyama to handle the intricate players of those two sides, especially when they go away from home.
Do you rate Wanyama and Dyer?
I think they're very sturdy midfielders who suit the Premier League, given the physical encounters that you come up against.
I think what they just lack. I think Dembele is better than both of them in Spurs midfield.
He is. He can just.
I'd have much rather have him than.
Yeah, he picks out the incisive pass. He's a very good dribbler. He can take pressure on and get out of pressure.
You can as good as. Eric Dyer gets enough abuse from people, and I'm not going to weigh in on him, but Wanyama seems to be, a lot of people seem to think that he's this sort of I don't know, he can put on a command performance in midfield, but if you can get in around him and get tight to him, he can't cope. Like that Chelsea's winner on Sunday there in the game against Spurs at Wembley, it's Wanyama that loses the ball because he just doesn't think quick enough. He's not quick enough. and David Luiz comes in, nails him with a tackle.
And especially against these sorts of teams when you're not going to dominate the ball, and likelihood is that your keeper might, for example, roll out the ball to you or try and play it about. They're going to be pressing you from word go, and you're going to be under serious pressure. And as a deep line midfield, you need to be comfortable in possession against the likes of Bruce.
I think that's where he falls down, and I think Spurs are going to find it close. But Spurs are a brilliant team.
Spurs are a great
they
team.
Can be brilliant to watch.
They're a great team.
But that's a really good group, a really fun group to watch. Not a Spurs fan.
The thing about it is they need to sort out their Wembley form.
That needs to finish soon. I'll put an end to soon, and we'll talk about that towards the end of the show. We'll talk about some of the Premier League fixtures. We'll finish off just on our first section here on the Europa League. Welcome to the Europa League. I've been in it more times than you have as a Liverpool fan, I think. You've been an Arsenal fan. I'm one of these, and it's not me being. I'm not being funny here. I actually really like the Europa League. I like it. You can get some mad team from somewhere nobody really knows about and play it, and it is quirky. I just don't like it playing on a Thursday night. But Arsenal's group, and we talked about this during the week. You were saying you didn't want ties in Eastern Europe, and you got two.
we got Babble Borisov. One in Belarus, which is a long trip away.
Yeah.
And I actually checked the Arsenal website to see which game was going to come after the away tie in Belarus, and it hadn't come up yet. But if it's another away game, I can see Arsene Wenger putting out the big guns away in Belarus, and then expected to come home on a Sunday.
You'd imagine Arsenal will ask for a Monday night game or something, or a Sunday afternoon game.
You would.
But the Premier League probably give them a 12:30 on Saturday morning. Because that's the Premier League.
That's it. But if it had been Manchester United, it might be different.
Oh well, you get them all going now.
It's heartbreaking, because I'm gonna have to rearrange my weeks now. I'm used to doing the other things on a Thursday night. Now I'm gonna have to focus on the Europa League.
Well, you'll be doing this, so I'll have to put it on the screen in the background for you. Exactly. Not even pay attention to me now.
Exactly.
And Cologne, that'll be tight.
Tough game, Actually, more Arsenal ties. Babble Borisov, former club of Alexander Cleve, who's a major player for Arsenal.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
The other team, Cologne, former of an Arsenal and still much loved Arsenal player, Lucas Podolski.
Big fan. I'm a big fan of his as well.
And disappointed that he had to leave, but these things happen. So they're tough places to go.
And Belgrade will not be easy.
Belgrade, because of the atmosphere there. I would just say that based on home performances, I'd say Arsenal will get through the group.
I'd expect Arsenal to win that group. Have it won, just on home ties. Everton got into it with a Gylfi Sigurdsson 300-mile goal.
Yes.
And they play Lyon, Atalanta, and Limassol, another Cypriot team. That's a tight group.
It's a tight group, and actually I looked at Everton's team last night, and it was like very, very similar to the team that they field in the Premier League. So my main worry for Everton would be, unlike Arsenal have enough fringe players.
You don't think Everton have enough depth?
I don't think Everton have enough depth. And I know Ronald Koeman has come out today and spoken about he'd like to sign a striker, And I suppose we'll look at that later when we look at the Premier League fixtures for this weekend. They play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And I would agree that they need a striker, but I would say that they need a few other players, squad players, that can come in and sort of...
They let Gareth Barry go, and the Barry should have held on to him just for...
And he had a very good game for West Brom.
Yeah.
His first game there away at Burnley. So, it's difficult to know how Everton will get on. Atalanta, difficult enough game.
They had a very good season in Serie A last year.
Lyon, one of the reputable names out of France. So, you never know. Never know. But I would be surprised if Everton win that group based on their squad depth.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think I would like Everton to give a rattle in Europe, and being a Liverpool fan, it is hard to say, but I would like to see them give Europe a go.
Philip, do you believe that they can actually balance?
No.
Ron Koeman says he wants to challenge the top six. How can they balance the top six challenge and also a Europa League challenge?
Europa League. I don't think so.
To be honest, I think they would sacrifice exiting at the group stages if they were able to get up to the...
Which would make no sense, because then they're going to finish sixth and go back in the Europa League.
Yes, it's just that thing that you can't get out of it.
No. That is our little first section done for the draws. So we'll be back in 2 seconds to talk a little bit about Liverpool v Arsenal. Which I'm looking forward to. I don't think Jake is. We'll see you in 2 seconds. Hello and welcome back to the second part of the Football Babble, the third episode, but it's the first episode is the Football Babble, so and you'll see a new logo as well soon. Jake hasn't seen it yet either, but I've seen it. It's very similar to the last one, but a good friend of mine made it, so thank you very much. Yes, Sunday afternoon at Anfield, the mighty Reds face the Gunners, and Liverpool are going to win.
Well, I wish I could argue against that, but the reality of the situation is last year in the league, Liverpool against top 6 opponents, 5 draws, 5 wins, no defeats. It'll be difficult for Arsenal. The saving grace for Arsenal is that they have not yet fielded their 2 best players this season.
In Sanchez and Koscielny.
Sanchez and Koscielny. Now I know Arsenal are known for producing good centre halves, but the signing from Lorient a few years back raised a few eyebrows.
How much did it cost? It
was about $1 million.
Yeah,
it was
if even.
Yeah, I think they were in League Two at that time in France, and Arsene Wenger should have pulled this masterstroke again. Now I know that some people maybe question Koscielny and his consistency, etc. But last year, for example, 202 clearances. The next defender to him in Arsenal was Shkodran Mustafi with 129 clearances. He's the best defender by far, and he'll make a valuable contribution this week at Anfield, where he has been sent off before.
Yeah, he was sent off first game, so was Joe Cole that day. Yeah. Did you see the Liverpool v Hoffenheim game on Wednesday night?
I saw the goals. The third goal, Chan's second goal of the night, was superb.
I think that's
superbly worked.
One of the best goals scored at Anfield by Liverpool.
Yes.
I just watching that game, and I was off today, and I sat at home and I watched the first 20 minutes again. And I had a little bit of notes and stuff done on it and different things, but I just think the way Liverpool set up and the way they played in midfield and harassed, that if they come out, and I think they will, under Jurgen Klopp, he seems to be able to get us at Anfield up for it. And
especially for the big games.
Exactly. And I think if they come out like that on Sunday against Arsenal, we could score early doors, maybe 1 or 2. I don't think Arsenal will be as naive as Hoffenheim were, and that, like, for play to Hoffenheim and Nagelsmann, their manager, he did stick to his guns. He went for it. They needed a goal. Normally managers that need a goal away from home in Europe try to settle in the game in the first 20 minutes. He didn't. He was open, so that gave Liverpool, you give Liverpool that door, they'll kick it in, they'll go at it, and that space. Firmino on Wednesday night, that was his best performance in Liverpool shirt. He was involved in, he scored the 4th, and he was involved in the other 3 goals, and he was brilliant. I don't think Arsenal will give us that much space or be that wide open as Hoffenheim were, but I just, and this isn't me being big-headed, I just can see Liverpool bursting into an early lead and getting at Arsenal. And I think Arsenal's midfield at the minute, and I don't know if you'll disagree, I'll give you a minute to talk, I'll give you a chance to talk in a minute. I don't think Arsenal's midfield will be able to cope. I think they'll be too wide open. And what it showed, like the Stoke goal, and I'll let you talk in 2 seconds, Jesse's goal only involved 3 passes and started in Stoke's half. One bang, Jesse went through on the what do you call him, Side of Berahino goal. Wasn't tracked by Ozil. He got a bit of a kick about by Keown and Gerrard.
And I know Ozil always attracts the criticism.
It's because of his body language.
It's because of the body language. Ozil is a class player.
Oh, aye.
They say, Gerrard made a comment like world class players do that sort of work.
Ozil's won a World Cup.
Ozil's won a World Cup. He's won 3 German Players of the Year awards.
Yeah.
That means he's top quality. He's a top quality player, and he's regarded by probably bigger figures than Martin Keown and Steven Gerrard as a top quality player. I would have to agree with you in terms of the midfield. It would be disappointing this Sunday if things continue the way they have been going, and that Ramsey and Xhaka vacate the deep line midfield role.
It's so wide open.
Arsenal have enough elsewhere. For example, if Sanchez coming back, 24 goals, 10 assists last year. Now that's some difference to feeding Danny Welbeck. All respects to his energy and enthusiasm. Arsenal's biggest trump card is the front 3, which will be Lacazette, and then behind Sanchez and Ozil. As you said, will they get the opportunity to play it to them with the pressing game of Liverpool? I think so, given Liverpool's performances to date. But if you remember last week, I know Liverpool won comfortably 1-0 against Crystal Palace. Benteke had a sublime opportunity to make it 1-0.
By the way, that Loftus-Cheek, he's some talent.
Great piece of business from Crystal Palace.
I know, why did Chelsea let him go?
That's it. I just don't know, especially when they're so short of players. there's clearly a reluctance at Chelsea to bring through young talent.
Aye. We can talk about that. I've gone off topic there, but that is another topic for us to get into. But if Arsenal go 3-4-2-1, right? I can see Mane and the overlap of say Robertson or Moreno, and then Salah and the overlap of Gomez. I don't think Trent Alexander-Arnold playing. He's got dead leg. I can. There's goals there for Liverpool.
There's goals for Liverpool, but there's also goals for Arsenal.
There is.
And I think
because Lovren keeps passing the ball to the opposing team.
What I think will happen, to be honest, is I think it'll be close enough game. I'm hoping actually for that. Will it be an Andre Arshavin 4 goals show like a few years back? Perhaps 4-4 maybe. Wouldn't say no to that.
I'm sure you wouldn't.
But I would say that Arsenal should have learned by this stage. Should have learned. Although I've been saying that for a number of years now under Arsene Wenger. Arsenal need to get Oxlade-Chamberlain out of the wing-back role. And I know today that he's turned down a contract extension worth £180,000 a week, it's been reported. And they need to drop him for this weekend's game.
Completely drop him?
I would drop him. Put in Kolasinac at left wing-back, left centre-back, Nacho Monreal. Centre of the three at the back, Shelley, and right, Mustafi.
And then who's right back?
Right back is Hector Bellerin.
Hector Bellerin.
I would drop Oxlade-Chamberlain. You know, he's had about 10 good games for Arsenal. And I know he's a young talent, he's 23. But at the same time, no 23-year-old that has only had about 10 consistent games should hold any club to ransom. And if Chelsea or Liverpool want to come in and offer him that money, so be it. Because it has the same sort of recollection that I have of Alexander Song, who left having had 2 or 1.5 great seasons for Arsenal at 24, which is only 1 year older than Oxlade-Chamberlain, left to go to Barcelona. He made about 40 appearances for Barcelona and had 2 sort of less than productive loan spells at West Ham. So if I was Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, if I was his advisors, I would be advising him to stay at Arsenal and to accept less money. Never mind turn down 180,000.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. But obviously there's someone out there, Philip, that has turned his head and is willing to offer him.
I don't think he ends up at Anfield. I think
Liverpool are always the team sort of linked with him, maybe because of his energy and that suits Klopp.
We've been linked with him since under Rodgers.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just been carried on from then. I don't. Would I take Oxlade-Chamberlain? I don't know. He can play a lot of positions. Klopp likes that. He can play all different sort of positions, and Klopp loves that. He said, like, one of the things about Coutinho going was it, if you read Klopp's quotes when he first came out of Liverpool, and they talk about the number 10, talk about Coutinho, he said, well, my tactics, my formation, my teams don't need a number 10 the way we play it, which Liverpool showed against Hoffenheim when they blew them away in 21 minutes on Wednesday night. They don't necessarily need a number 10 if you have the likes of Gini Wijnaldum and Chan performing the number 8 role, where they both burst into the box and they both link up play, and Firmino drops in and he sort of covers that thing where you don't have the outstanding or the set number 10. You have Firmino dropping in, you can cover for that.
There's great interchange between them, and it is very difficult to defend against, and that's probably what Klopp likes about it. The only thing that I'm saying here about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is he's 23. Is he going to spend his career as a jack of all trades but master of none, moving around the football field?
Yeah.
That would be my only
He probably wants
I'd say
a midfield role.
He probably does, but will he get it at the likes of Liverpool or Chelsea? Not a chance.
I can't see him getting a Liverpool midfield role.
Not a chance.
I don't know.
To be honest, if Chelsea are interested, and I believe they are, I think the figure quote is about 35 million. I would say Klopp sees him, Antonio Conte sees him as someone who could maybe replace or step in for the likes of Victor Moses at right wing back.
Yeah.
It's not even a given whether he'll start at Chelsea. But I've got off track there. But clubs holding, players holding clubs to ransom, especially Arsenal.
You're right to be passionate enough about your own player, your own team when he's holding your club to ransom. Like I haven't lost my head yet about Coutinho. I don't know how I haven't. I can lose my head pretty quickly over Liverpool, like you know.
Yes.
I haven't. Like it's just sort of meh, whatever. It's probably because we've done alright so far in games. It's just more the defending we can't seem to do. Like,
well, that's it. And Liverpool have started well. Like Arsenal, I read after their defeat against Stoke that they were the runt of the top 6 pack.
It didn't sit well. You sure they didn't like that?
They're finished 1 point off the top 4.
Yeah.
1 point off the top 4. They have already, this season after 2 games, got 2 points more than they had last season. Because the first game last season they lost to Liverpool, the second game they drew away to Leicester. So they have 2 points more. If they finish with 2 points more at the end, perhaps last year, if they'd have finished with 2 points more, they would have finished in the top 4. Not that I'm saying that's the sole aim.
No.
But if that's what these journalists seem to be comparing Arsenal to, that they're, I suppose, unable to get into this top 4 this year, which I believe is very early to rule out their potential to do that.
Sure, Manchester United are going to win the league, winning every game 4-0 anyway. They'll have it won by, was it January? So nobody will bother about it.
That's right. So it'll be I suppose it'll be a bit of a competition between the rest.
Yeah, we're always blown away by them.
Fill those other 3 spots.
Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting that you were saying that because Liverpool beat Arsenal twice last year, but only finished a point ahead of them. So, Arsenal obviously had done something right and clawed a gap in. Some of the obviously had a decent period where they did have a decent period where they were flying at one point.
The thing about it is, Philip, Arsenal have only lost 2 games since they have reverted to the back 3.
Yeah,
2 games.
I think if I was Arsene Wenger and having seen how a back 3 coped against Liverpool at Anfield on Wednesday night, and with it being a Sunday evening bank holiday game at Anfield, I would maybe revert to a back 4 or something, or make it a little bit more solid.
Towards the end of the game, he did revert to a back 4 against Stoke, but
if you get out of Sunday with a draw, brilliant. And that's not, again, I've said patronising 10 times in this video, so it might be patronising. You get out Anfield, I'm not saying Liverpool are this unbelievable team. If you go to a top 6 team away from home and take a draw, you're happy with that. It's beating them at home is what you need to do.
Arsenal had a lot of chances last week against Stoke. The problem is they failed to. Danny Welbeck, who's not a prolific finisher, who I cannot criticise Danny Welbeck at all in terms of his attitude is fantastic. But when you put in Alexis Sanchez for Danny Welbeck, there's a completely different edge to Arsenal's attack. And I believe it will be very difficult. If Arsenal can bypass the press from Liverpool, it will be very difficult for Liverpool to stop Lacazette, Sanchez and Ozil.
It actually has the makings of being a cracking game.
Do you want to predict the score?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool.
I'll reverse it.
3-1 Arsenal?
3-1 Arsenal.
There you are. So it's going to be
not that I've been correct with my previous Arsenal suggestion. Maybe I should have gone with your prediction that they would lose.
Our predictions last week didn't go too well, I don't think.
No.
Well, we got Man United to win, and they won 4-0.
That's right. I think we said 3-0 there.
3-0. Did we pick Chelsea to win?
No,
we didn't. We picked Arsenal to win though, and we picked Liverpool to win. Mm-hmm. So we got one right and one wrong.
Of course, Arsenal let us down.
Well, and I can't remember the other one because of the Spurs game. I think we picked Man City to win, and Everton ran them close and got a draw.
Which was what we had said they needed to do if they want to challenge for a top 4.
Exactly. You go away from home, I think, if you want to be serious, and if you come away from a point, that's a good point. Fantastic. If you're the home team, like if it's a draw on Sunday, you'll be happy, I'll be annoyed. That's the way it'll be, like. Yes. Unless like we equalise last second or something.
No, that's right.
But something like that. Yes, so we wanted to talk about that. That's the way it's got. That's the way it's been in. That's that part of our video covered. Liverpool v Arsenal. It'll be interesting to see how we get on next week after the game, and certainly when the texts are flying in. But we'll be back for our final part to talk a little bit of questions. We got a couple of questions in from people. We'll try to get through those. One's about Ibrahimovic. He's come back, and then we'll look at some of the fixtures coming up in the Premier League this week. Hello and welcome back to the Football Babble, the final part of our, it's a 3-part show, but I merged it all together, but it's just because this video keeps cutting out on me. We got a question in on Twitter, and my dad asked what planet could Dejan Lovren actually play football on. He's not a fan of Dejan Lovren. I'll leave that one with you there, Jake, and you can think of that one. We got another one in from Michael Lavery on Twitter, and thanks very much for your question. He wanted to talk about Ibrahimovic's return. What do you make of that? Ibra coming back and playing for Manchester United. I think it just makes them look a bit stronger now, which is not great if you're not a Man United fan.
It makes them look stronger. It's also a very smart move, having just spent 75 million on Lukaku, who did score 26 goals last year, I think, for Everton.
Yeah.
And
close to it anyway.
But not against the top teams.
No, he scored against Man City.
Yes.
But he didn't score against, I don't think he scored anyone else. I don't think he did anyway.
Yeah. I would say it's a smart move from Mourinho. Here is a seasoned professional who can still score goals. Scored some important goals last year for Manchester United.
Yeah,
And
28 goals, 17 goals in 28 appearances or something.
That's
in the
good.
league.
That's a good record, and I know that he will continue to give his best. The only question I would have is what sort of effect would this have on Lukaku?
Well, where do you play him? I don't think Ibrahimovic starts. I think he's going to be, and that's like Ibrahimovic. He's going to be.
The thing about it is, if he does start him again in the big games, then you're losing the pace of Lukaku, who could threaten on the counter attack, which Ibrahimovic does not have.
No.
So as you say, it most likely probably will be impact from the bench.
Yeah, or whichever one of them is firing goals in for fun will start. I don't think you can play those two together. Now he might try it. Pardon me, I could be proved wrong here. And that's fair enough. It's Jose Mourinho. He's a world class coach. I'm not, so he might know something. But I looked at sort of how Ibrahimovic got on at Milan and PSG, and he always played in the middle of a three. The odd time at PSG, or say Lavezzi when he was there was injured, he played up front with Cavani
as a two.
Cavani's different to Lukaku.
Yeah.
He's a bit quicker.
He's a bit more skillful, I would say.
A bit more skillful, a wee bit more direct. Lukaku likes to be involved. Lukaku doesn't. A lot of people just see Lukaku as a bit of a battering around, but he's a bit more intelligent than that there, and he likes to get involved and link play up a little bit better. When he was at Milan, Ibrahimovic, he played in a three with Robinho and Pato either side of him, or if again boys were injured, it would have then been a two. And he scored 35 one of the seasons in all competitions. I think he ended up with 41 actually when he played for PSG with Lavezzi and Cavani as a three. I don't see United going as a three with Rashford, Lukaku. I just don't see Lukaku. I don't see
it fitting in with Lukaku. But if you think about it, I suppose there's two ways to look at this. I wonder how Anthony Martial's feeling. He's come on. He's got 2 goals in 2 games. He's in the prime, heading into the prime of his career, I suppose, now as a young 20-year-old. Okay, so he's at the age you want to be playing regularly.
Yeah.
And yet he's not going to be unless they play Rashford and Martial either side of Ibrahimovic as an alternative to the likes of Lukaku,
like they did last year. I think United. This deal has just been announced, but I think it was in
the pipeline.
I think that everyone at the club knew, and he was there. He's been there all along. I'm not sure that's been officially announced, but I think he's been there all along. So I think these boys would have known he was coming in. But you're right. It's a good headache for Jose Mourinho now to think where do I fit in? Who starts? What happens? I don't get me wrong. It might work, but I do not see Lukaku or Ibrahimovic clearly playing outside of a three. Plus, is his knee going to hold up? Is it going to be that secure, and is he going to be that free from an injury? You don't know yet.
You don't know. It's an
interesting.
But I read that he's taken a 50% pay cut.
Oh, has he?
I read that he's taken.
I'd say he's still getting rightly paid.
I would say so. Wouldn't mind being a pound behind that 50%
no,
pay
exactly,
cut.
no.
But no, Manchester United still very impressive. This weekend they play Leicester City at Old Trafford, and
Harry Maguire against Lukaku will be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
I like Harry Maguire.
I think he's been, I think he's a good signing.
Yeah.
I think he's a good signing.
And he loves running down the wing for some reason as well.
He just sets off.
He just sets off. Joel Matip does this too for Liverpool. Joel Matip was standing up front in the first half the other day against Hoffenheim. I was screaming at TV saying, "Joel, get back, you madman!"
I know.
But Harry Maguire does that too. He loves to bomb off down the line. I like him. How do you think this will go?
Leicester United. I fancy Manchester United to concede their first goal of the season.
Yeah.
But I would still expect them to win. However, Leicester came to Arsenal, and I know Arsenal might not be as solid at the back as Manchester United. But Leicester can cause problems. They're pacey.
Yeah.
Are United's defenders pacey?
Valencia, but
they haven't really been challenged yet.
No.
Leicester's their first challenge this season. I expect them to concede, but I still expect them to do enough to win.
2-1 I think it'll be. I think it'll be close. 1 goal in it, and I think United will win, and they'll finish off the first 3 games of the season on 9 points. Win the international break, buzzing.
Exactly. 2 massive relegation battles as well.
Yeah.
This early in the season.
I know
it's
like the
a bit of a cliche,
the relegation derby here. It's mad. You go with the first one.
Crystal Palace and Swansea. Swansea are on 1 point, and similarly to the 1 point, they've only had one shot on target in 2 games.
Yeah.
Now I know they've brought in Wilfred Boney. They're in discussions to try and sign Lord Remy from Chelsea this evening. That would be a major addition.
Good addition, like.
A good addition.
And they got Sam Lucas.
They got Sam Lucas.
He might shore up their midfield a little
He
bit.
might shore up their midfield, but then again, I still have the question marks about how are they going to bridge the gap between this midfield and attack. Sigurdsson did so much of that, and it just came naturally to him. How are they going to do it? I don't know. Crystal Palace have lost their opening 2 matches. They didn't do too well the last time they played at home, losing to newly promoted Huddersfield 3-0. They need a result.
Massive. But what they did at Anfield, and we watched it, they reverted back to what Crystal Palace did last year, and they looked wee bit more solid. Now the last 25 minutes they were looked dead in their feet, and what happened? So you don't know. But for the first 60 odd minutes, they were holding Liverpool at bay. They were very solid. In midfield, they were winning their battles. Milosevic, I think I might have got his name wrong there in midfield. He was brilliant for Crystal Palace on last Saturday. Swansea have lost Kyle Bartley as well.
Kyle Bartley injury.
He's injured.
Yeah. Last season, Paul Clement was just named their manager. He wasn't actually officially their manager yet. They won their first win in a number of matches. I fancy them to nick this game, and it's going to be
at Palace.
At Palace is going to prove very difficult for Frank.
If that happens, and if it's a big loss, De Boer will be in.
I don't know whether it'll be a big loss, but I fancy Paul Clement as a coach that I admire.
You like Swansea? They're like
that's
not team.
Carlo Ancelotti does not take a coach with him lightly. He's taken him to Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. I think it didn't work out for him at Derby, I know that, but I still think that he'll have enough to get a result tomorrow against Palace. Yeah. What do you think?
Fair enough. I don't. I see Palace winning tomorrow. At Palace.
What is your score?
I'm going to go 2-0 Palace.
2-0 Palace.
I don't see Swansea scoring. I think you did mention Boney. I don't know if he's.
I'd say he will have signed in time.
But I just see 2-0 Palace. I see them getting the result. I see Benteke running riot.
If Boney doesn't play, Palace could well win. Boney adds a different dimension because he's a striker that can hit a few goals. I'm going to go with Swansea 2-1 if Boney's playing.
Fair enough. The other one is Newcastle and West Ham. I love Rafa Benitez. He's a hero of mine. So to see his West Ham in the Spur League this year is just killer. And also, or Newcastle, sorry, in the Spur League is killer. And I had a wee bit of a soft spot for the Toon as well. Just doesn't seem right up there at Newcastle. I heard a fan talking the other day on a podcast saying that he's actually, and he runs his own Newcastle podcast and something like what we're doing here, and he said he's actually got to the point now where he might pack it in. He's been supporting Newcastle from 1973.
The thing about the team, Philip, it just doesn't seem to have any continuity.
The whole club doesn't.
Yeah, well, that's off the field.
They need to get rid of that moron that owns it.
Long been a problem, you know.
But no, this is a game that I fear for Newcastle. West Ham haven't looked great either. They look shocking, but I think they've got Sacco back, and
I think they've just got a wee bit more.
It's the Correa back as well. I think they've definitely Sacco back.
That Sacco he played the other day. In the Carabao
Newcastle lost in the Forest during the week.
That's
West
right.
Ham got a win up and running. I'll see West Ham winning this, and I just fear. I'm going to say this now. I think Rafa will walk when the transfer window closes.
He'll walk, yes, and will another team come in from? Definitely.
He's a good man. He's United fan or whatever. People hate him, and that's fair enough. But I love him. He's a good tactical manager. I think he'll walk. We'll finish scoreline. I think it'll be 2-0. I'll go in on 2-0 West Ham.
2-0 West Ham. I'd agree with you.
Think Spurs will get their first win at Wembley in a wee while.
Well, the goal machine, as Sean Dyche says, he wants a striker before he signed him that can hit them hard and hit them even harder into the net. They've signed Chris Wood, 30 goals last year for Leeds. Solid signing.
Yeah.
Solid signing. They lost Andre Gray to Watford, and they brought in someone who isn't proven in the Premier League, but someone who is a proven goal scorer, and he wants a chance to impress. I fancy Burnley scoring. Tottenham. Last year, 17 wins, 2 draws at home. Already they've had 1 defeat at home in the league. Big problems at Wembley.
They need to get over that Wembley.
They need to get over it. I think they might do it this weekend. I think they might get over it this weekend. What do you think yourself?
Yeah, I think they will. Burnley were very, very good at Chelsea in the first day of the season. And they're a solid side under Sean Dyche. or Batman, as he actually is. They're a solid team, and with Chris Wood coming in, and they've Walters and I can't remember who, Sam Vokes. They've a lot of brutes up front. If they go for 3 up front, they've 3 brutes they could play up front. But I think Spurs will get it done. They'll get it off. I think Harry Kane will score his first goal in August.
Hopefully, get him off the mark.
Yeah, I really do like Harry Kane.
I think he's a good striker, but he needs to clear out this whole hoodoo.
I think Sunday will be the day where they get rid of that and he'll score.
Yeah, I fancy Tottenham to win
2-1. I'm going 2-1.
Yeah, I'll go 3-1.
3-1. That's fair enough. Chelsea v Everton as well on Sunday.
Chelsea Everton, great. As I said, Koeman wants a striker.
The lad from Cardiff, he's been linked with. Cardiff. Yeah, just Soare or
yeah,
I think it is. I'm supposed
it's a major addition they need. We've talked already about how they need to bring in reinforcements. They need a striker. Last year, in terms of goals scored, they finished 6th in the goal scored league on 62 goals.
The Lukaku got about 26 goals.
26
yeah.
The team above that was Arsenal, and they got 77. 15 goals they need to bridge. Now they brought in Rooney, who started well. They brought in Sandro Ramirez, who's proven in Spain. They need someone else to take the burden off them players.
Yeah.
Someone with a bit of pace. Sahori at Cardiff has that. Will Neil Warnock, who's building another title push in the AFL Championship, allow him to go? I doubt it, because he's someone who will score plenty of goals for them in the Championship. It depends on the player. Does he want to go or not?
Whenever it come calling, you never know.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea will win that against Everton.
Going by the performance last week in their Italian job at Wembley, I would say Chelsea to win 2-1.
2-1, Everton score again. Rooney to get another one.
Hope so. He's on a fantasy team.
Oh,
he's done well so far.
Well, that's us for this week on the Football Babble. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the Twitter page, the Facebook page, and on the YouTube page. Tell all your mates as well. Did you enjoy that this week, Jake?
Fantastic.
I love doing it.
And hopefully next week I'll be able to come back and just further explain how well Arsenal have played and that they've got a good result.
You've been a full Arsenal kid of
We're
Arsenal
eternal hopeful. We have this eternal hope, so we do it as Arsenal fans.
Yeah, next week will be interesting because there'll be international breaks, so we'll be able to talk a little bit more about maybe what's going on and a few more signings. Dembele signed tonight before we came on.
That's right.
Mbappe's about to sign. Hopefully Liverpool can get Virgil van Dijk in.
If Oxlade-Chamberlain goes, that's 35 million. There's talk of Mustafi going to Inter Milan. Arsene Wenger asked yesterday in his press conference, will he go? He says, I can't tell you for sure what will happen in the last few weeks. Doesn't sound too much that he's defiant on keeping him. So that's a chance.
Lost Gabriel, lose Mustafi.
I've also seen recently that Virgil van Dijk, I doubt that
met with Arsenal representatives.
Has met
seen
with
that himself.
He's probably met with representatives from every club under the sun at this stage. He's just looking out. He's training with under 23s and he's probably injured about 4 of them by now. Okay.
But yes, thank you very much
next week.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us, and make sure you check us out on the Sports Babble. And lads, when you're looking at a haircut, head up to Belfast and check out Sean Lawler at the Cambridge Barbershop. Bye.